Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about the masculine energy and father wounds, as I promised, and I'm going to discuss some of the main traits that the masculine energy picks up from their father, or it's transferred to them from their male ancestors, from their masculine ancestors. And how these distortions has caused the masculine wounds in their childhood and as they grew up. So one of the main issues, I have to say, that the counterparts experience in their own separate lives is dealing with narcissistic family traits. And these traits exist in the family, and it's on different levels. Narcissism is something that both masculine and feminine energies deal with in their childhood, whether it is aimed at them from their mother or from their father or from both, but in different scenarios, on different aspects. I already discussed the issues with for the masculines and feminines also, dealing with a narcissistic mother and mother wounds from their early childhood. But a lot of that narcissistic mother or maternal patterns also have roots in having an unbalanced parental relationship in the household, in the sense that if there is a power control, or if there is a hierarchy in the household, if there is a head of a house, whether it's a mother or a father, and everybody else falls into their roles and role playing, and there is not an equal give and take in these relationships between the parents, all these narcissistic patterns start to form, and all these relationships start to get distorted based on that. Some of these families of the masculines have had a father figure that has had he was a very alpha type man, not in what he necessarily had or owned, or his alpha behavior, or his power control, or his being the head of the hierarchy in the household comes from his behavior, not from what he could provide. Basically, what I'm trying to say is usually an egotistical father, somebody who was probably emotionally unavailable to the children and to the mother, who was distant, who has had issues showing affection, in some situations maybe even showing financial support for the family, but in turn acting very distant and very cruel and very boss type, and trying to control the household in the manner of I'm the man kind of thing. That kind of distortion usually exists in the families of the counterparts, the twins. And for the masculine, this is what they pick up. If you see your masculine, your counterpart, dealing with issues regarding communication, with issues regarding trying to have full-time control over every aspect of their life, if they are having a hard time expressing emotions, if they are having a hard time connecting with other people, if they don't have too many friends, they might have a lot of acquaintances, but they may not have very close friends. That's because of the lack of empathy and the lack of ability to connect on an emotional, intimate level with other people. These are all stemmed from their childhood and looking at their fathers as a role model. What's interesting in these kind of relationships is a father figure that has been an alpha male, has been someone who was emotionally unavailable, maybe even financially not supportive, maybe being a control freak, maybe not being giving to the relationship with the children and with the mother. That automatically pushes the mother into also seeking her emotional fulfillment from her children. And that's where the relationship between the mother-child becomes distorted, because in turn the mother starts looking into her children, especially her sons, her male children, to provide that kind of stability and support that she needs from her husband for her. In a sense, these mothers, these narcissistic mothers, start seeking that attention and that love and that affection and the support and in a lot of cases even the financial support from the boys in the house. And if they have an elder son, if they have one son, if they have a son that is successful with their life, that son becomes somehow taking over the role of the husband for that household, because the real husband, the father of the house, is unavailable or is incapable or is not fulfilling his role as the father and as a husband. And this automatically shifts everything into a very toxic situation for the masculine, who is carrying that load of responsibility on his shoulders. Suddenly he's not his mother's son anymore. He becomes her confidant. He becomes the supporter. He becomes an emotional confidant. He basically he has to play two roles. He has to be the son and the husband to her mother when it comes to providing affection and attention. So all these toxicity that the masculine has to face now is with their mother is partly also rooted in how the behavior of the father was in the household. Especially in more traditional families, men were supposed to just be putting a bread on the table, and I don't know, just they were taking care of the family on an external side of things from the outside, and they were usually not involved with the bringing up of the children. They were not involved with providing emotional support for the children. They may not have been involved in raising the children altogether, and there is that disconnect between the father and the kids, in the sense that he was unavailable to show them love and to show them his support. And if these fathers did not have a good financial status or did not have good jobs to provide maybe a comfortable or luxurious kind of life for the wife and for the family, that might become the karma for such families, living in a good financial state, living in a comfortable lifestyle, or trying to show off a level of comfort to their surroundings, to their families and friends, because that becomes their insecurity, because the father was unavailable to provide that sense of security for his wife and the children. So in a lot of these families, in a lot of these masculines, you see a thirst for money, for fame, for image, a thirst for show off. They are into wearing that mask of security and luxury in order to show people around them that they are successful, that they are capable of providing a comfortable life, that they are famous if they are out in the public eye, or that it's somehow putting a mask of some type of an image, whether it's financial or with popularity, something to cover up that insecurity that is inherent in them as a wound from their childhood, for having a father that was unable to provide them with that kind of security. So that is forming itself as a void inside them, in their soul, whether they developed it themselves or whether their mother imposed it on them, that, oh, you don't want to be like your dad, you have to be successful, you have to you don't want to be like us, you have to study, you have to work well, you have to have a good job, you have to have a big house, you have to have a high-end car, you have to have all this glitter in your life, because you don't want to be living a life that I lived, because you don't want to be where your dad is today, because you don't want to continue where we are. But the truth of the matter is, these children grow up with that thirst of collecting all these coins and glitter in their life, without really having a chance to heal that wound from their childhood. They don't know where this thirst comes from. They don't know where this urge of, I want this, I want that, I want that, I want that, or I need to be with strong people, I need to be with people of fame and image and power, to look better. And a lot of divine masculines and the masculine energy is dealing with that as one of the main types of karma right now. A lot of it has to come with financial instability and getting stuck in situations that is very tight, when it comes to inheritance, when it comes to jobs, when it comes to their financial savings, when it comes to their assets and everything material wise. And there could be, like in my own experience, and I'm sure in a lot of other feminines have experienced this too, that the masculine might have projected the insecurity when it comes to the financial matters, to their money matters, onto the feminine, by leaving for a better job, leaving for leaving her for somebody with a higher income, leaving them for going to another city to make money. It's usually giving up love for financial gain, and that's the projection of their own insecurity onto the feminine energy, because that becomes somehow a priority in their life. These masculines, I'm sure, if once they awaken and they look at their choices, they would see that a lot of their decisions in their life, whether if they married before, if they immigrated before, if they chose jobs before, if they whatever activity they did, or if they happen to choose friendship circles, if they look deep into their choices, they would see that more often than not, these choices have been based on that lack of stability and security when it comes to image, when it comes to financial matters, and when it comes to social acceptance. So another major item that the masculines deal with, and we as feminine energies have been subject to, is long periods of no communication. A lot of these masculines are incapable of talking about their feelings. They're incapable of, and these feelings are not just love matters. A lot of these masculines are not able to discuss their emotions when it comes to anything. If they are upset about something, if something is bothering them, if something is making them happy and they want to express that, they are very most of these masculines are very incapable of expressing emotions, and that also, I believe, roots in their father wounds. And they are, I believe, in this department also, the father was a role model. When in their childhood, they could have observed their father's behavior with their mother, on how he was not showing affection, maybe, especially, like I said, in more religious traditional families. They may not have ever spoken love to each other. They may not have ever shown appreciation. Not many older men in older societies or traditional families show appreciation towards the wife, towards the mother, for what she does. A lot of these women have been housewives. A lot of older families, older generations, they may not have worked outside. They may have been at home taking care of the children, and sometimes, a lot of times, that has been taken for granted, and the mother is not getting that sense of appreciation and affection from her husband, or at least not in front of the children. And that's why the child doesn't learn to appreciate the mother, doesn't learn to appreciate the female energy, does not learn to appreciate a woman. They don't learn to recognize what that woman is providing. Once, if a father figure if a role model is taking a mother's affection and service to the children and to the household as granted and as their job, then that's what the child picks up. That's what the son picks up. And I think this is how it grows up into, as they grow up, it becomes a trait in them that they don't appreciate the feminine energy, and they look at her as an object. They treat her as an object to gain something from her, or they start using the feminine energy for their comfort. Like as if their father would just come to the table to eat, or just go to bed to have sex, or just I don't know, go outside to work. There is no emotional bond here, and that's why these masculines are very incapable of forming these bonds, because they never saw it, and they haven't had a chance to experience it. And when it comes to love, they're incapable of speaking it because they don't feel it. This kind of love was not shown. Maybe even if it was shown to them, it wasn't shown to them between the parents in the household. And with the lack of communication or bad communication skills, that also stems from having a father that doesn't see necessary to discuss his intimate emotional side with his wife. or in front of the children or with his children, somebody who is distant and who is removed from the family ties and the intimate bonds, who doesn't speak any love words, who doesn't express any appreciation, doesn't express any emotions, doesn't express maybe any happiness, whether because he didn't learn it either in his family. That's why these are ancestral patterns, because they are transformed down the line from one generation to another. These are things that we pick up as a learning thing. It's not genetics. It's a learning thing, and if you haven't learned it yourself, you can't teach it to your children. So whether these people never learned to show affections, or in some older, more traditional societies, men were very masculine, and if you're emotional, it's weak. It's considered feminine. It's considered very. I feel like it's a sign of weakness in a lot of cases, and that's why there is this sense of rigidity with older generational fathers. With fathers, I mean from an older, more traditional generation. They are more rigid. They are distant. They are cold towards the mother and towards the children. And like I said, these masculines pick up that, and they. Even if they have any affection to show, even if they have any support to show, even if they have that love language, it's only aimed towards the mother, because she latches herself onto the son, onto the older son, onto the available son, onto the more affectionate son. Because remember, a lot of these masculines are like you, feminines. They are empaths. They have strong emotions. They have strong feelings. Mostly they're incapable of showing it, but it doesn't mean that they don't feel it. And because they are more emotional, because they are more affectionate, because they are more capable of feeling these emotions, and they are more sensitive to these energies, the mother easily latches to them and takes them as a source for their own happiness. So in a lot of your counterpart connection, your twin connection, the mother is the karmic, and not a partner. The mother is the one that your masculine has karma with, and the father is the parents. And the first family that these masculines have strong karmic ties with, that they need to be worked at, and this karma needs to be cleared. And it's very difficult to do that, because if you have spent your life for 30, 40, 50 years in these situations, it's very difficult to recognize these toxicities and to work on them. Like in a lot of cases, you don't even know what to do. Even if you are aware of the toxicity, even if you're aware of what's going on, and what you're a target of, even if you know that your mother is using you as a source of her happiness, and you don't have a proper bond with your father, what would you do to release yourself from that? How can you release yourself from that? You are going to make a lot of mess, a lot of turbulence in the family after, 30, 40, 50 years of being a slave to these kind of bonds. How do you release yourself? And so that if you see your masculine not able to communicate, not able to show emotions, not able to provide a stability, not able to to support you with your thoughts. If they're not interested to hear you out, if they're not interested to know about you, if it's always about them, if it's always about their achievements, their goals, their life, and if they only come to you when they need your support, it just rest assured that these are stamped in their childhood and in the kind of relationship that their father had with the mother. Their fathers were incapable of showing affection, showing support, maybe incapable of providing financially, incapable of providing emotionally to them and to their mothers. And that automatically makes these people closer with their moms and distorts that mother-child bond and makes it a mother-husband-child bond. Like they become more than a son. They become a source of relief and comfort for their mothers. These are unfortunately very deep karmic issues that need to be worked at, and a lot of feminines have also had mother issues, and some feminines have father issues too. But feminines are usually more aware of what's happening to them, and they are more submissive to the transformation and to the awakening and to all the energies and the guidance that they receive from their guides and ancestors, and they're more open to the whole process. But the masculines are very they resent the connection first to begin with. They resent any emotional bond that gives them a sense of instability and weakness. A lot of your masculines don't rejected you because the love that they felt for you made them feel weak. It made them feel that they don't have control over you. It made them feel that they don't have control over their lives. And that's one of the major reasons that these masculines start running, is because they want to have that constant grip on their life, and they can't let go. They're incapable of trusting, and they're incapable of feeling the deep love because of the fear of falling into a weakness. They want to always wear that strong, rigid mask on them, because that's what all they saw, because that's what their fathers look like. And touching emotions and dipping their foot into the waters of their emotions, it's too fluid down there. It's not rigid. They start sinking into it, and they don't like that feeling. So to sum it up, father wounds are just as deep as mother wounds, and sometimes they are the basis of the wounds that come up with the mothers too, and all the issues that the masculines face with their mothers stems from their father wounds, because they never had that masculine model to show them what a proper masculine looks like, what a healthy masculine energy looks like, and they fall and get trapped into these distortions, and they get trapped into this toxicity and these suffocating family ties that prevents them from growing, and prevents them from being themselves, and prevents them from flying, from being free. They start becoming a slave to these bonds, and they become trapped into making everyone around them happy instead of making themselves happy. And sometimes even before their awakening, they think their happiness comes from their family. But I'm sure a lot of these masculines, once they awaken and they look at the decisions that they made throughout their life, and the path they took, and the marriages they went through, and their girlfriends, their relationships, their friends, their jobs, and the places that they chose to live in, and the actions that they took, they were all, I bet you 99% of them were a result of some kind of family influence, especially a mother influence. And whether it was to make them happy or to prove them wrong, and that doesn't matter. It's it is the same thing. If you're trying to make a decision to make your mother or father happy, against your own will, it has the same effect on your life as if you make a decision to prove them wrong, to prove that you're your own person, that you are capable of making your own decisions, because that decision is not for you still. It's to prove them. They are the target. They are the priority. You're either going against their will or with their will. It's about them. It's not about you. Because if you start thinking about you, then it doesn't matter what your decision is, whether your decision is aligned with your family values or against them. You don't even stop to think about that. You're going with your heart. The minute that you stop and think, if what I'm doing, is it against or aligned with my family values or my family likes and dislikes, that's when you fall into the traps of these family ties and all the rules and responsibilities that you have to meet. So that's pretty much it. I don't want to get too deep into other items with father wounds. This is a topic that you can talk infinitely about, and I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't have any study in psychiatry, so I leave it at that. These are all my own experiences and my learnings from discussions with other divine feminines and some awakened divine masculines, and what I see on feedbacks on other posts and videos under a lot of the psychologists YouTube videos where people ask questions and discuss their issues. So but I'm sure, as if you're a divine feminine, you already have seen these traits in your masculine. I just want you to know that these are deep wounds stemming from their childhood and the relationship with their parents, especially a father. And expect your masculine to be dealing with these issues for quite some time. And these are not issues that can be resolved overnight. Even if your masculine is aware of these issues, they need quite some time to work on them and heal them inside them in order to be more healthy in their dealings and relationships with other people, and to be able to make healthier choices when it comes to their own life. So, and if you're a masculine energy listening to this, as deep as these issues are and as hurtful as it can be, looking at them and touching them, it's like opening an old wound. And admitting them and recognizing them, healing these issues will give you a better chance to form a healthier future for yourself. And if you have children, or if you want to have children, you will be a healthier parent for them, and you won't you can just close out these karmic cycles at you and not transfer these toxicity and unhealthy patterns down to your offsprings. Okay, guys, so that's it for today. I will be back in a few days to discuss another item with you. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.